So, how was the last few days? Did you have a good time? Did you sit? Did you practice? Wow, I'm impressed. Okay, Sasha.
It's for me, it's like when you go concentrate on the skin and then the inner body.
Yeah.
It's just like everything is there, and at the same time, everything is not there. So I'm just figuring out what it is really.
What is there and what is not there?
Yeah. Yeah. So
This is confusing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What is there?
Yeah. That's the question. It's for me, it's like at moments there is totally calmness, stillness, there is nothing.
Yeah.
And then it can switch to something really overwhelming, like every noise, every sensation is like doubled or feeling more intense.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so difficult to explain.
Yeah, but that's very common, eh? That when you're, remember when we were talking about sounds, we were saying it's when you're really silent that you can hear a lot. It's like when I'm really silent, I can hear sounds that before I was not hearing, right? When maybe some thoughts were going through, or I was, somewhere else with my attention and I was not really quiet, I could not even hear those sounds. And then when the silence settles in, it's like, oh my God, there is so much going on.
Yeah.
So much I can perceive in this moment, right? Mm-hmm. So that's quite common, yeah. And would you say that when you say what is there and what is not there, would you say that you were there or you are there in those moments?
I think so, but
oh no, don't think.
It's right now. It's for me. It's like undescribable. You cannot describe it. I cannot. Yes. And a part of me wants to explain it. But
you don't need to. But tell me one thing. You experienced it, right? All this that you tried to explain, you experienced it.
Yeah.
So you must have been there.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. The experiencer is always there.
Yeah.
That's what we want to bring our attention to, that awareness of the experiencer. Sometimes we start getting a little unnecessarily complicated in our mind, about this. But awareness is something that it's always there. It's a very simple thing. We always use it. It's just we use it in different ways. To drive your bicycle in the middle of a city or your car, you need your awareness. Otherwise you cannot. You have to be aware of so many things at the same time. You have to be aware of your foot, one foot on the accelerator, one foot on the brake, changing the gear or the brakes on the bicycle. Who is coming from the right? Who is coming from the left? Who is ahead of you? Are they stopping or are they not stopping ahead of you? The guys in front of you? Is somebody crossing the road, walking? I mean, there's so many things that we're aware in every single moment when we drive, for example. That is awareness. I mean, there's no other way we could do it, And if we space out, we create an accident. And space out meaning we're not present anymore. So it is true that there are certain functions that can happen even, I would say, without really our full presence. And that those functions are part of what Gurdjieff used to call body memories. And to remain with what we are talking about, for example, driving the bicycle, it's also a body memory, much like driving the car, like swimming, for example. There is certain functions that the body memorizes that can do with very, very little of our presence, you know, almost automatically. But for example, the traffic and who is going where, you cannot space out there, right? I mean, you can drive the car and space out. It happened to me. I remember a few years ago, especially when I was traveling a lot, I would rent a car, and I was in a new city, new roads and streets I didn't know, different traffic. I would drive through. And then when I got familiar with it a little bit, sometime I would get lost in my thoughts. And I remember that, and then I would keep driving, and then all of a sudden I would come back from my train of thoughts, and I would look around, and I was like, whoa, I don't know where I am, because I didn't know that city. And there was a moment of gap that was scary, actually. It was almost like I even had to remember, in what city am I, you know? And that made me realize, wow, I can really be absent to the point that I even forget where I am, you know? But I was still driving, and I was lucky. Nothing happened. So yeah, awareness, it's always there. It's only that in meditation, we take that awareness that we would put into watching the traffic while we drive, we take that awareness and put it inwards. And we look at the inner traffic instead of the outer traffic, you know, and see what is happening, what is coming and going, what kind of thoughts, what kind of sensations, what kind of feelings. But that awareness is always there. When it gets absorbed in thoughts, it kind of, we lose presence, and we move into this illusion of a reality that is actually not happening in that moment. Yeah, either future possibilities or remembering of the past. But otherwise, when we're not lost in the train of thoughts, the awareness is always there. And it's a beautiful thing that it's not something we have to do, but it's a natural state, actually. When there is nothing occupying or taking our attention away from the present moment, naturally there is awareness. Naturally we are aware. We don't have to create that. It's not an effort of any kind. It's the very nature of consciousness. So there we can take a deep breath and relax and say, oh, whew, I don't need to do it. That's good news. Sometimes we complicate things more than it's necessary. But anyway, thank you for the sharing. Yeah. You brought up some interesting topic. Yeah. This thing I was talking before also with Sasha about time, and it brings back something I wanted to mention, actually. The fact that what keeps us away from this yoga that we were talking about, from this sense of union, is exactly the man created the illusion of time. I'm not referring to clock time, which, you know, we created, and it's very useful because if you have to catch a plane, you better know what time it is, right? I'm talking about psychological time. Psychological time is what does keep the mind moving away from the present moment. It's actually a very clever thing that the mind created, because it needs to move, mind needs to move. And when we are, let's say, living our daily life and we have to do many things, we do those things and we allow the body, you have to go somewhere, so we move through the body from point A to point B, and then from point B we have to go to point C. And so we move through space from point to point. And when we sit silently and we close our eyes, there is nowhere to go. Suddenly there's like, the body is still, our eyes are closed, our attention goes inwards. And the only way the mind can still move is creating space between point A to point B to point C through the concept of time. So mind creates past and future within itself so that it can move from the present to the future, back to the present, to the front, to the past. And it has movement. It has allowed to move. So space and time are related in that when the mind does not have space, creates a space through this concept of time. This concept of time is a creation. It's a man creation. If you could talk to an animal and ask them what time is it, they go like, what are you talking about? It's now. I mean, what do you mean what time it is? You know, in nature, there is no time. You know, it's not Wednesday or Thursday or this week or that week, or it's 5 o'clock or 3 o'clock. It's always now. You know, it's only the human dimension that has this concept of time, which, as we said, clock time is very useful, but the psychological time becomes an incredible, almost an addiction, a fixation. And we spend so much time remembering something or planning for something or imagining something. And that is all time that it's taken away from the experience of the present moment. And as we said, everything happens now. Even the memory, even if we remember something that happened 3 days ago, that something, when it happened, it was now, right? Now we're remembering it, it's the memory, it's not happening. And if we want something to happen in the future and we imagine it, how could it be, if it will happen here now, in the present moment, right? When you will be there. So everything happens always in the now. So a big chunk of energy that leaks into future projection or past memories is unnecessary, and it's really what takes us away from the space of silence and stillness and emptiness that we can experience in the present moment, in which there is yoga, union with existence. Mm-hmm. You can see time when we move in the, let's say when we move through the concept of time, we move horizontally. If we draw a line, and here there is past And here there is future, and in the middle, that's where I am, right? In the present. Okay. So sometime we can spend our whole life on this horizontal plane. And I can tell you there is no growth. There is no unfolding, nothing happening on this line because it's horizontal. All that happens, all the growth and progression and evolution that happens, it's on the vertical line. The vertical line passes exactly in the present moment. That's where I am. That's where you are. Okay? We could say that the vertical line goes through your center. And that is where anything that has any value happens. It's in that moment when we're present. When we live vertically, when we start living vertically, that's when we start growing. It's also very symbolic because we also said, remember when we were talking of the earth and sky and the energy of earth and sky and the grounding and the grace, you know, the two energies. And we said, well, in the moment I ground myself into the earth, I become more present. Yeah. And the more I relax into that, the more I might start feeling energy also moving up, you know, physically, I can feel it in my head, for example. And I can also perceive it's a light pull from the sky as well as a very strong pull from the earth, right? And we said not to worry too much about that sky energy. It happens by itself. The more we relax, you know, we just need to worry about that, ground ourselves. Once our roots are really deep, then the tree can grow really tall, but not vice versa. If your roots are very shallow, you remain a very little plant. So allow that ground energy to really become very present. Root yourself deeply in that, and then you grow vertically much more easily. Also, at a certain point in the evolution of the meditation practice, you want to have a strong ground and strong roots, because otherwise there are maybe experiences that happen by grace that can be a little overwhelming, or they might feel scary. You know, maybe we had those sensations when we did the inner body, the inner space, remember? And we were like, whoa, I felt like my body was disappearing and it was scary. Good. So make your roots really strong, ground yourself in the earth through the body. And that will give you the solidity and the anchor and the strength not to get scared when you go through experiences that are a little bit unusual, for example, yeah? Or you touch space within yourself that are like, I don't know where my body is anymore. So the grounding is very important, and the grace happens by itself. But again, that is the vertical line. That verticality happens when we are present. Mm-hmm. So meditation, we could say, it's an attempt or a practice to live vertically, you know, to move away from the horizontal line of time and live a life on the vertical plane, which is in the present moment. And that's what anything of value will happen, you know. As you might know, also some of the greatest invention, they all said, I had an intuition that came out of a space of no mind. Of course, they were not using this word, no mind. They were saying, well, in that space, for example, between when you are not asleep and you're not completely awake, you know, and there is no thoughts, that's when the biggest intuition came to them, and then the biggest discovery came out of that space. You know, Edison used to sit on his chair and keep a pen in his hands, and then as soon as he would snooze off and fall asleep, the pen would fall. So he would stay awake, he would pick up the pen, and again, he would sit there. And he would use that method to stay in that space of no mind between being awake and being asleep without falling asleep, right? Because otherwise he would wake up because the pen would fall down. And he said, that's how I created a light bulb from that space, not thinking about it. So the greatest inventions come from actually an intuition. They come from a space of no mind. They come from a space that is bigger, actually, of even the little human mind. Then you need the human mind to develop that. Okay, if you want to build a light bulb, you have to think about it. How am I going to build it? It needs a vacuum within the glass. Okay, how am I gonna create a vacuum inside that so that then the light can manifest? And then the mind is very useful. But the original intuition comes from a space of no mind. And also the mind that needs to rest. So moving in the verticality, in the vertical line, gives rest to the mind so that when you need it, it's much more fresh and much more alive, you know, much more functional. Because if you, it's like a muscle, if you keep using it, it gets tired. And then you can't think straight. You know, we have this expression in English, oh man, I'm so tired, I can't think straight. It means your mind is overwhelmed, it's overworked, you know, and like every muscle, it needs to rest. So meditation will also give you a better, more functional mind. And of course, less identification with it at the same time. That's a beautiful thing. Therefore, freedom from it. Yeah, you're not anymore dependent. You're not acting according to what the mind says anymore, but you're actually telling the mind what to do. What a beautiful tool to use. So this is for the concept of time. I want you to understand that it is a man-created illusion. It does not exist in that sense. As a matter of fact, when you see people that have amnesia or have a shock and they have an accident or something happen, or maybe they go in a coma and then they come out and they lose their memory for a period of time, they are completely empty. There is not even they don't even know who they are. There is no sense of I anymore, because our identity is connected with all our memories. You know, it's all recorded. We built the ego structure is built through accumulation of memories, right? Information. Remember, we talked about the ego. Put this in this folder, this in this folder. We fill up the hard drive. And sure enough, there I have my beautiful ego. But it's all memories. So when these guys come out of this, whatever happened to them, and they lose their memory for, an hour, a day, or a week, whatever that is, there is no ego anymore. They're completely empty. In a way, they are in a deep space of presence, And that's also where little babies or children are most of the time. Their memory is still so little, they didn't accumulate that much, and they live so much in the present moment. They really enjoy life. They're like, you can see them now. They go around with these two big eyes, like, wow, everything is so amazing. They're in a constant awe to life and existence. They are so present with a little pebble on the beach and a few shells becomes like the most beautiful treasures they ever found. And everything has value. Everything has so much value. And one of the reasons is because their memories are still very thin. They don't have like big luggage to carry. And their egoic mind is not so developed. So they really spend a lot of time in the present moment. So that's another thing that we have to regain or reclaim. We have to reclaim that sense of innocence and that comes from presence, from being present. So through meditation, that happens too. You know, in a way, you start becoming aware of more and more, but also you become more humble and more simple in many ways. You know, you start simplifying your life as much as you can. And there is an innocence that comes back, and you can see it sometimes in older people, no? They say older people sometimes they become children again, you know. They have that light in their eyes, a little smile, and they take it easy, you know, and it's like, yeah, well, I've done all that game that you're playing, you know, and I know what it is. It's okay. You play your game. I've done it. Now I can just relax and enjoy life and being in the present moment. So that's a beautiful thing that comes also with old age. If you're lucky and if you live the beautiful life, otherwise, if you don't, it doesn't come. You remain a grumpy old man and you're still not enjoying life. But yeah, so that is all part of memory that is connected to past, the concept of past, and of course the concept of past is connected to memories, and the future is also connected to memories, because future is a projection of our ego into something that is not here in this moment, and the ego is based in the past. So it's all connected. Past and future are two aspects of the same phenomenon. In silence, you know, in inner stillness, when we are quiet, there is no time. It's only this moment. And so our practice is again and again, okay, how can I be even more present in this moment? And one way is to feel the moment. So not to think about it. Yeah. Be very careful. Maybe you become really quiet and there's nothing moving, a lot of stillness, and then you might start thinking, oh, I'm quiet and there is a lot of stillness. Well, no, you don't need to think that. Just experience it. Because the moment you start labeling it and thinking and defining it, oh man, I'm so quiet now, I'm so still, I'm really in deep meditation. If you start thinking that, you move away from the experience. So try to not get distracted by the little words that wants to stick to the experience, labels, and just go as much as you can deep into the experience itself through feeling it. What does this moment feel like? So boom, you put out all your little antennas, yeah? Like the snails when they put out their antenna, ding, and then they pull them in, you know? You imagine you have all those and you just put them out. You have a million of them all around, inside and outside. And feel, it's like, okay, let me feel this moment. And you stay with that experience. Don't let any words come in. There's no need. Mhm. So going back to feeling, perceiving, and perceiving space and perceiving silence, it's a very fine thing, isn't it? It's almost like feeling air. Can you feel air? Yes, you can actually, but it's very requires a lot of attention. So, how to feel the present moment? That's a good practice. And then you can do any moment, anytime you remember during your day. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Maybe you're washing dishes, then you can use the movement of your hands or the feeling of the water on your hands to take you more in the present. You bring mindfulness to the movement first, then to sound, the sound of the water. Yeah. And then through those anchors, you become more present. Or maybe you're not doing anything and there's nothing to do, and you go like, wow, okay, let me feel this moment. What does it feel like? Whoa. Expand. Stop everything and just feel. Pause. Let that pause last as long as it wants. In that moment, you're moving vertically on the vertical line. You step away from the horizontal trap that doesn't take you anywhere, and you start moving vertically. And apparently there is a lot possible in that verticality because we live in an infinite universe. Imagine that. Not only vast, we're talking about infinite. My mind is like, yeah, God, what? I cannot grasp that concept. But that's how much space there is to move, to move up if we want. A lot. Indefinable, infinite. Apparently, that's not my experience, but Osho told me that. He said, don't think that enlightenment and a full awakening is the end of something. It's a goal. Even if you have that experience, where you become so aware, 100% light of awareness is there. He said, that is a beginning again. It's not an end of anything. It's just starting. So it's never ending. You think you reach the peak and then you realize, oh, the peak is not a peak, it's a plateau. And then there is more. So it's an infinite journey, so we can really relax. There's no hurry. Because there is no end. That's the good news. If there was an end, then we had a goal, no? We had a place to reach, but dude, there is no end. There is no terminal station. What do you call it? It's an ongoing journey. What a beautiful thing. Huh? And so whoever is ahead of us in the evolution of their consciousness has told us, look, even when you get here, it's just another beginning. Don't worry. Don't think there is a goal, something you have to reach and then you arrived. You will never arrive. The nature itself of consciousness, the nature of consciousness itself is evolution. Consciousness wants to keep growing and unfolding, become more and more self-aware. So the little self-awareness we have now, it took a few million years to develop on this planet, in this body, in this human form. Yeah. When we were living in the caves and the tigers were outside and we were like, shit, I better not go out. If I go out, I go with a fire because Those tigers with the long teeth, you know, they were ready to have a snack on us. Well, we were aware, you know, we were aware that we existed, but it was very little, very limited awareness, you know. We go out and look at the stars and we were like, wow, you know, probably in awe, but we had no concept that those were stars. Yeah, we had no concept that we lived on planet Earth and it's a planet and it's a sphere floating in space. There was no understanding like that, no? And then slowly, consciousness evolved through us, through time. It took millions of years to arrive where we are now. And compared to other people, we're still living in the caves. So it's okay, you know? We are where we are. This is our moment in time. We are in this part of our evolution. And we are discovering that we need more than what the world is trying to convince us that is worth anything. We are all here because we have a longing, and that longing comes from consciousness that wants to evolve, that knows that there is more. There is a remembrance of a much bigger dimension, much bigger space that we came into this body with. You know, we were very connected with that space. That longing is still there, and now it's calling us. That's why we wonder, what is this meditation? Let me understand a little more. Because when I do it, I feel good. It's almost like I'm nourishing that longing, you know? So let's move with that. It's an ongoing journey. Let's enjoy the journey. That's the vertical line. Somebody said the goal is the journey. There is no other goal. And any other goals except enjoying the journey itself, which is life, which is this moment, whatever is unfolding for us now in this beautiful life. The vertical line. Okay, I went a little too deep, I can tell. But sometimes I have to do it. How about we sit and we move into the verticality a little bit? You feel like? Okay. So we're going to find a comfortable position to sit. If you can, keep your back straight as much as you can, even if you're leaning on a backrest, you know, maybe put some pillows so that you're a little more straight, but comfortable. Most important, be comfortable. We want to enjoy our sitting. We don't want to suffer. And we close our eyes and take attention inward. And feel this joy for sitting. Say, oh, I'm going to take a little time for myself. How good is that we can do that? How beautiful. Nowhere to go, nothing to reach, there's no goal, just being here within yourself. And with the next few out breaths, Feel like you're relaxing and letting go into the earth with every out breath. With every out breath, I let go of any tensions I still carry. I give it to the earth. I give all my worries and tensions to the earth. She can take it. She's big and she can take a lot, no problem. Breathing out, letting go. Allowing yourself to sink downwards. Not only your pelvic area and legs, also the belly and the diaphragm and the shoulders. Everything fall downwards, relaxing downwards. Letting go of all holding. Breathing out. Slowly relaxing more and more. Allowing a sense of stillness. Very gently. It's settling in. Enjoying all that stillness, rejoicing in it. A good feeling when stillness comes. In that stillness, I perceive the movement of my breathing happening. I'm aware of perceiving sounds. I'm aware of a sense of inner space within which I experience all this. A quiet inner space. Sounds perceptions appear and disappears within this space. Thoughts might appear and then they disappear again. Within this big empty screen that is my inner consciousness, my inner space. And I'm aware also that I am aware. I'm aware that I'm observing all this phenomenon, all these experiences, all these perceptions, all the thoughts arising. I'm aware that I am aware of them. I am observing them. I am the I that is observing. Can you sense this I? Can you feel this I am? Where is it? How does it feel like? Where is the source from where I am observing? Very undefinable. And yet I can sense it. Root yourself into that sense of I. Put roots into that sense of presence. The presence that is aware of everything. If you notice that you're drifting off, drifting away in thoughts, just notice that thought. Just simply look like, wow, look at that thought. Oh yeah, I was thinking about that thing. Okay. Well, it's not here and now, so I can let it go. And you come back without any judgment. Everything is good. And you move back into the vertical dimension of being here and now. Going back to the sense of the I that is perceiving everything, that is observing and is aware of everything. That I also resides in that vertical line. It's always there. Sometimes it almost feels like the I is the vertical line. But however you perceive it is good. Going back to that I. How do you perceive it? Where is it? When you say I within yourself, where is that? What is that? What does it feel like? Every time you drift away, you come back, you remember, and come back to the vertical line, the vertical dimension of this moment. Letting go of past and future, just allowing yourself to be simply here. Allowing any movement that wants to happen vertically, but not horizontally. There's no need. We do not need the horizontal movement right now. How beautiful we can let go of that. Diving deeply into this moment. What does it feel like? Feeling, perceiving, sensing, being, letting go. And slowly bringing the attention back to the breathing. Feeling the breath happening inside that expanded inner space. Reconnecting with the body through the breath. Feeling the skin. Maybe start by moving the fingers and your toes. Coming back slowly and gently. And see if when you open your eyes, you can maintain a certain amount of your attention still on the inner center, even if you look outward. Keep some attention where you had it during the meditation, and some attention goes out to perceive the world. It should almost be like a 50-50. 50% of energy, you keep it in the center, and 50% goes out in perception, perceiving the world. Can I look at the objects in front of me and yet still be aware of the looker, the one that is looking, the space that is looking, the space that I am looking from? Can you give some energy to the in and to the out equally? I see the world, and I'm also aware that I'm seeing. I'm aware of the witness, the one that is looking. This is mindfulness. This is just being present every moment by remembering oneself. So you don't want to give 100% of your energy out. Be careful when you open your eyes and you start going, oh yeah, oh that was good. All right, yeah, what's going on here? Yeah, and not. So what's going on is okay, but maintain half of that energy in where it was. Maintain that attention to the center, in the center, and as well through the eyes, look and perceive. Just 50-50 is perfect. You're right in the middle. You are perceiving the world that is on the periphery, and you're also in the center. That will allow you presence throughout your day. Anytime you remember, just do that. Remember, oh, wait, let me put a little, too much energy is going out. Now you start feeling tired. You feel too scattered. Just remember. I say, okay, I bring 50% energy back to my center, to the source of the I. Then you never get tired. Okay, maybe you get tired if you really go, you need to sleep. But it's not a tiredness that comes from leaking out too much energy. Nice, huh? Who would like to share something about your experience or your insight or your doubts or anything else that is floating around? Wait, there are two. Who goes first? Come on. Okay, Sitara. Hold on, I give you the mic. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, great.
Very well, very well.
So I just wanted to share that today there was a different quality to the sitting compared to other days.
Mm.
For me. And there was almost like a reversing of the direction of the noticing, if that makes any sense to anybody else than me. There were moments when what was being observed was the observation, the noticing. What was being noticed was the noticing.
Yes.
And that change in direction was very clear, and the experience of that was almost like something being locked into place. I don't know, it was like a very like a click, something so stable and constant.
Yeah, you're locked into your center.
It was that a kind of feeling of something sort of being clicked into place.
Yes.
And it was very much felt somewhere in the head, but not kind of like I don't know where, not up here, but sort of in the brain. I could feel also the place where it was
Yes.
kind of, but more of an energetic place,
Yes.
physical place, if that makes sense. And in that place also, I could experience seeing colors. It was weird because it wasn't really seeing, but it was like some colors behind my eyes, or were they behind my eyes? I don't know. But anyway, that's kind of like beside the point. More, it was the feeling, the experience of this, of this lock and the direction of noticing changing, which was very, very beautiful for me today.
Nice. Did it help you when I asked you to feel the eye? Feel that?
Yes.
Where
Yeah.
is this? So eye?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
This is how it sort of started, and yeah, that question kind of triggered. I don't know if I can call it not a technique, but a tool. So what I did when you said, "Can you notice where the eye is?" I observed the part in my body, like my hands or something, and then I turned the observation around on, you know, where is this observation coming from?
Yes.
And that's where it kind of like sort of
locked in.
happened. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So it's
Very
a
nice.
very nice experience.
Thank you. Thank you for that sharing.
Thank you, Shastro.
Yeah. Malkir.
Hi, Shastro, thank you. I've got a question about how to deal with meditation, or to keep that inner energy, like with yourself for 50%, and to look in the outward world, you know, to preserve that feeling.
Yeah.
Not to give too much energy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How to do that? Is that the question?
Yeah. No, maybe it's a little bit personal, but how to deal with that with ADD or ADHD, you know, like attention disorder. Like, yeah, because if you're a really outgoing person, yeah, you give a lot of energy, and to maintain that inner peace, that inner space.
Yes.
We learned.
Yes.
To find a good balance in between that, it's how to deal with that. Yeah.
Well, I think that is exactly the medicine for it. I think attention deficit disorder is exactly that. Is like all the energy is going out, and every stimulation, it's like where your attention wants to go. So, and if there are many stimulations, you keep jumping from one to the other, you just hold on to anything because there is no center, you know, so you are completely out, and that can happen. So meditation is actually the medicine for that. It's a beautiful thing. Meditation and medicine and at the same roots. Mad, which is medicament, medicine, meditation. Meditation helps you to heal, you know. So and the wound, the main wound that we need to heal is the disconnecting from ourselves, right? So ADD, it's a symptom of a completely outward projection of all our energy, you know, so it's difficult. There's no center anymore. So the practice is really like, keep remembering whatever you do, you know, use the anchor, you know, in the beginning, feel the body, feel the weight of the body, let go into the earth, you know, whatever of the anchors, whichever works best for you, feel the breath, or use them all at the same time. Those are ways to bring the energy in itself, you know. They just automatically, the energy gets in. You feel the body. The body is always present. Remember that. You know.
Yeah.
When you're sitting on a surfboard and you feel the sun on your skin and the water on your feet or on your hands, the sense of the water, you know, sense everything through your body. Feel the swells underneath, you know, how the water lifts your board and then it lowers. Look, you know, look at the horizon, look at the space. Just perceive, sense everything. You can only be present in that moment.
Yeah, that helps me a lot.
Yeah.
The ocean and the surfing, not only the action itself, but all the using your sense to see the birds flying by,
Exactly.
beautiful sunset, the animals, you know, and the texture of the water touching your skin, and
exactly.
The motion of surfing, gliding.
Yes, there's a lot to anchor to. No, there's no need to think much.
No.
And then when you're riding a wave, you're so present. It's like, you know, you don't make mistakes. You're just like riding that present vertical line. Talking about vertical line, you are on the vertical line surfing. So that's what meditation is, you know. We learn to surf the present moment, you know, finding the balance, finding that verticality. And then you fall again. That's okay, you know. And then you pedal a little bit, you go back, and then you go vertical again. You know, it's the same with meditation. A thought comes, it's like, whoop, you fall, you go into the future, go into the past. And you notice it, that's fine. You pedal back to the present moment. You stand up again. Same.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shastro.
Sure.
Grazie.
Prego.
You must have enjoyed the water in Hawaii, huh?
Yes, but I never started surfing because I knew I almost started windsurfing, and then I knew, like, okay, if I start this, I will not be able to do anything else. I knew that it would absorb me so much, and it's good that I didn't do it, because then a lot of music happened and I started recording, and another form of creativity happens, which was good too. Yeah. What else? Ajija, did you still want to say something?
Yeah, I had an incredible experience because something happened in between the meditation. So if you notice, I switch off my camera because a call came in, a very unexpected call. The hospital here called me for an oncological test, and they confirm it. So I have to go to the hospital in a couple of days, and then. So I really encountered strong fears because I believe that this is really the wrong moment to go to the hospital, you know, with the COVID, etc. So I finished at the end of the phone call, I said to continue the meditation, and then really amazing thing happened. Talking about the vertical line has been an incredible support, because there was all this fear in me. I could really feel it, my heart beating strong, and something in the stomach which was start to get tight. And then following your voice has been really a guidance into just let the I take in space. So all this fear, which I still feel it is in me, definitely, but it's not in. It's like it's just the it's just the container in a round, doesn't touch that deeper space. So that's what the experience. Yeah, very, very, very nice. Very, very supportive.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
So it felt like the fear was on the circumference.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then your attention could move to the center, and you could still sense the fear, but it was not, you were not locked into it.
Right.
There was a distance between the two, between you and the fear, between the I and the fear.
I had my very first Satori many years ago. You, by the way, were there. We talk about 38 years ago, Shastro.
Wow.
On our first Vipassana retreat.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that, no?
Yeah.
And there I had exactly this experience where this vertical line was so present and was very clear the circumference. There was something else. So great. Very good.
Nice. It's a beautiful thing, huh? Because then any decision that you might take, it comes from a very centered space. So you feel into that, and maybe you come to the realization, oh, there's no need, it's only a fear. Or you might feel like from your center, it's like, don't go now, postpone it. Whatever decision you're going to take is going to be good because it's coming from that more centered space. If you lock into the fear, then it's almost like a one-way,
Right.
Fear will take you in one direction. There's no choice. But in the center, you always have choices. There's many possibilities, many options, and you just feel which is the right one for you, which is a great thing when you have to take a decision too. Nice, huh? Yeah, thanks for the sharing. That's good. Yeah. Okay, guys. Much love to everybody. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, Shastro.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Okay.